Hello guys, this is Victoria James, Russian American Renaissance, but today's video is really kind of random. Um, I started watching a seminar or like some sort of workshop by Oleg Gadetsky. That's a Russian, kind of like a trainer. I don't think he really calls himself a spiritual teacher. He really tries to stay in the pragmatic realm and everything. But he made this video about law of destiny. Oleg Gadetsky, Law of Destiny. Really interesting video and a lot of lessons. And maybe I'm just at the stage of my life where I'm interested in this kind of stuff. It's not for everybody. If it's not, just turn it on and go and do something else. So he is kind of talking about how when you constantly encounter certain difficult situation in life, and it's very similar conditions, very similar type of people, very similar things, that means it's kind of, this is your karma. These are your karmic lessons that you really need to work through, something you need to learn in this life. And I started analyzing certain situations that happened to me a lot in my life. And I understood it's actually three things that constantly reemerge, and reemerge in my life. All the time I encounter those things. They make me feel a lot of pain. And first of all, I always had a situation when I had very strong conflict with a group of either my classmates or people at work or somewhere where I felt people were against me for my values or for my thinking. It wasn't usually constant, but there was a moment when it was like, I feel like I'm surrounded by hostile people who don't understand my values. So it was happening to me at every workplace where I was for a while. I had that. In school, I would say there was 3 or 4 situations in life when the whole environment and all the players, because life for me is kind of like a video game, to be completely honest, and I like playing it well. But like certain situations when I felt that players in the game are all against me in a certain social situation. And as I said, it was just kind of concentrating, and after it just kind of vanished after everything was good again. But I always had this situation of like concentration of negative energy and misunderstanding around me, some sort of paradox, confusion, people trying to understand what I'm trying to say. And that's situation number one. Situation when I have to stand for my values against a number of people. Number of people, not just somewhere, but at my workplace or in my school. At the university, I didn't have that, but mostly in school and at the workplace. Next thing, I always had a situation when I always had a lot of male friends because I'm not good at making friendship with women. And I always had a situation when I had 2 male friends and I was trying to be friends with them. I really wanted to be friends and everything. But after a while, I figured that both of these people, actually, they were in love with me and they were saying bullshit. But when you can't get something that you want, this is what you do, right? You just say bullshit about a woman because like, you're bad because I can't have you. I had this when I was in the 1st through the 5th grade. I had 2 boys who were my friends, and I think they had something like that going on there. But back then it wasn't very strong. We were still kind of kids, but it was like beginning of this trajectory. It started slower, and after it became stronger and more aggressive. After I had the same thing in closer to the high school, the same two people are my friends, and after again it repeated in a high school. After again it repeated just recently, and I'm not gonna say who that was, but it happened and it made me feel bad. So this is the kind of situation number 2 that I was having, being in a triangle in which I'm kind of innocent and I think we're friends, but people are not really interested to be my friends, and they have something totally different in mind, and they have something totally different going on in conversations between them, and I'm like, oh, we're friends, like, no, we're not. So that kind of stuff. Innocent, stupid Vicky, okay, you got it. So in situation number 3, kind of a karmic situation number 3, I had a lot of death in my life, especially very pure, very honest men that I was looking up to. It's, for example, my older brother, my father, and I had a teacher in ninth grade in high school, and he was a history teacher, and he was also an example for me in life. And he just shaped me, because I remember when we were in the ninth grade, he just I was in Uzbekistan back then, and he was teaching a history class, and he was a very honest person, a very patriotic person, very pure, and he wasn't a racist, and he wasn't any kind of Russian Nazi, but he loved Russia, and he loved his country, and he also loved Uzbekistan and all the territories that became a part of Soviet Union. So we had a history class, and he just stood up and he took a textbook in his hands. He looked at us and he was upset, and he had a very confused, kind of upset, a little bit angry face, but there was so much purity in his face, and so much, I don't know, to me he kind of looked like a saint at that moment. And he said, you know, guys, Soviet Union collapsed and there's a lot of stuff going on, and I don't want you to grow up in dishonesty and disinformation. I just when I look at this textbook that's created now, what I see there about Russian history, it just portrays every single Russian person as a bastard. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't trying to say anything bad, because Uzbekistan used to be a great place and we loved it. And there were a lot of international marriages and everything. But at that moment, there was a lot of stuff going on when Russians weren't feeling very good there. And it was mostly going from the government, not from people, because people in Uzbekistan, they're still, to me, they're brothers. And they understand Russians really well. We had like many generations of living together. We will never be against each other, at least I will never be. But that was a moment when he also created some sort of set of values for me. So that's, I think, my third karmic lesson, that man can be very dangerous for me because I'm trustful, and man can also be my saviors and my angels, because my father, my older brother, and him, they're already gone, but I feel them behind my back always. And I was never scared of anything in life, because I always felt them behind my back somewhere, taking care of little sister Victoria. And I'm just curious, guys, I know it's kind of a confused talk, but if you have any ideas, how do you work with this kind of karma? Like what, I need to become a different person in order to overcome this, but I'm a very smart person. I'm very expressive. It's hard for me to be liked by everybody, and it's never been a goal of my life to be loved by everybody. I do have conflicts once in a while. I don't want to, but it happens because I love my values and I stand for them, and I think they were created by a lot of sweat and pain and depression, but I kind of, and at the same time, I don't want any kind of conflicts anymore. That's a really hard part. And another thing with the males, like it's really hard for me to create friendships with women, is my lesson to keep trying and do that somehow. And about those men who taught me the greatest lessons in life, and after they left me, they're not in this world anymore. That's another part. I also don't know what to do with this karma and what it all means. So it's kind of weird what I'm saying now. But okay, if you have any ideas, let me know. So thank you for watching. It's a Russian American Renaissance. Have a good day. Bye-bye.